So I'm back as I promised yesterday in my newsletter that I'll be showing you how to gather useful information from the web using AI. Now, there's a deluge of information. There's no dearth of information. Every single day we are, well, assaulted at some level by various kinds of streams of information, be it feeds from your social media or newsletters and emails and spam and WhatsApp communication and phone calls and whatnot. So there's no dearth of information out there, but there is a dearth of how to filter that information and how to get that information into one place and make it useful. If you have to go through and read hundreds of blogs every day to figure out which one is useful for you, you will not have time to do anything else at all. So here is a simple way, a easy way to do this. It doesn't cost much money. There are much more expensive ways of doing it. Probably I'll talk about it some other time. But here is this. There is a tool called Google Alerts. You can go to alerts.google.com or you can just search for Google Alerts and you will get it, right? You need to have a Google account, obviously, to run this so that things can come to your email ID, like it will come to my email ID here. So I've set up a few alerts for you, and there are two ways to setting it up. You see this symbol, this is RSS, that is Real Simple Syndication. It's a web standard to send information, send broadcast information rather, that is being published somewhere. That's a simpler explanation of it, is much more complicated. So I have set up a few of them to demonstrate and to test out a few things. Here it is, right? The first one is ChatGPT or OpenAI. And the way it is set up is very simple. It so this is something which you get, when you start typing here, you have to type this, and the reason I'm using or is it's an operator basically. It says ChatGPT or OpenAI. When either of these is mentioned, you will get the feed, and this is the feed, right? It's showing everything. What I set it up to do is, as it happens, automatic, right? English, any region, only the best results, and it sends to it to my email ID. I can Now what happens is the email doesn't come to me every minute. It comes once a day. That's what I've observed over the past 2 days, and it kind of condenses everything that has happened, right? By using this uh, option, only the best results, I already filter out a lot of things. Now I don't know how Google decides what is best, but I am assuming some kind of criteria is being used. You can also say all results, which will just increase the number of results you get. And if I click on save here, what will happen is I'll get an email every day, and this email is going to come to land in my inbox, and I can do one thing. Here is my inbox. So this is not the inbox. In fact, what I've done is, because if you keep getting emails in your inbox, it's going to be painful, right, to sort the really useful ones from the non-useful ones. So I've set up something called as a filter, and it's very easy. Just Google how to set up a label in Google, Gmail, or how to set up a filter in Gmail. All you have to do is filter this by this email ID and put it into a folder. It'll automatically do it. Once the email comes to you, this is how it looks. It kind of, can puts everything in this nice format, so you can just go through this very quickly and see which one is useful for you, right? Now, if you're getting about 5 or 6 emails a day, that might be painful, but you get only one a day. If this is just one topic, if you have 10 topics, then you'll get 10 emails, right? But it's still easier than trying to open every blog and everything and trying to, you know, uh, figure out what is useful for you. This is one way to do it. So it's a partially automated, but you still have to manually go through and figure out which is useful for you. Now, there's a way to take this email and automate it, summarize it, but I'm not going to show that today. That is something I'll keep for tomorrow. Let's go to the other method of using Google Alerts. See, I told you that, I have set up four of them, right? So this is a second one. Of course, I mean, by default, you can set up your name also so that if somebody speaks about you, you can get that alert. That's simple enough, obvious enough. But here is another one, right? Where this option is not available, and I have not chosen everything. I've just chosen news, blogs, web, and video. I don't want to see books, discussion, and finance because it will be too much. English, any region, only the best results, and it's a RSS feed. And it's a little complex. AI and content or blog or newsletter or LinkedIn. So basically, what I'm saying is, if people are mentioning AI with in combination with this, uh, you know, and not talking about identify AI or governance of AI or blocking of AI. So that's a negative symbol, right? Just send me a newsletter. So here you go, right? This is one item which is coming, how to use AI to enhance your listening, da, 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 da. So there's all this is coming in, right? Now I have set up two of them. It's not just one. And the other one which I have set up is AI and content or blog. Sorry, this one, AI content. So it has to talk about AI content. That in quotes means it has to talk about it, either nearby or at least in the same sentence somewhere, so that you know that this is relevant. And I have also said, not block or not governance about it. And this is all the items there are. Now, why am I using RSS feeds? One of the reasons is, see, not you don't probably want to read an email every day, because the tendency is you see the email and you look at it, it's showing as read, you will not never open it again. So there is something called as RSS feeders, and this tool is called feeder.co, feeder.co, free to use, generous free plan. I would say it's not entirely free to use. They do have a paid pricing plan. So what I've done is I've set up both the RSS feeds here. All you have to do is click on feed, and they have something called as Google Alerts here, right? Web monitoring. So you can just go and put that feed. And how do you get the feed? Very simple. Go here into your Google Alerts. You can click on this symbol and it'll open up something like this. It looks like googly gook, but don't worry, the feed is working. If you don't see anything here, then the feed is not working. Just copy the URL, whatever the URL comes at the top, and you go to feeder and put that URL here, and it starts working. So, and I also use it to test the feeds, if I have created a RSS feed and is it working or not. So I can just go in here, I can see, okay, something new has happened. It's showing me a little bit of information, and if I click it, it'll open the entire article, right? So another way, it's also manual. It's partly manual. I can go through this quickly and just read this, mark up whichever I feel is good. I can star it. I can come back to it, or I can, add to a collection, and all that good stuff. So collections will come up here, and I can read it at a later stage, or I can put that in a collection saying that use it in a blog post or use it for social media content, etc. So the useful content is being curated like that. That's another way to do it. Now, the AI way to do this is a little complex. So pay attention as I go through this. There is this tool called make.com, make.com. It was called Integromat earlier. So we are going to set up some automation there. And there are a few steps involved. Right? So this is automation, summarize RSS feed. Okay, let's look at this. How do you form the automation and how will it work? So it's simple enough. Sign up for make.com. It has got a very generous free plan. It can run 1,000 operations a month, which is more than enough for what we are trying to do here. In fact, it's more than enough for a lot of things. So here we go. I set up the RSS feed here. You just copy paste the URL like we did in the feeder.co application, and that's a module. So you have multiple modules here. You search for a module. So I can just say, add a module, for example, and I can search for an application here, and the application will come up. It's as simple as that. But I don't need a module right now, so I'm going to delete it, right? And I'm just moving them around, so it's nothing, no rocket science here, just moving them around, right? Okay, so what is this? Why is this looking like, there are a bunch of things chained together? They are actually chained together. How do they work? Let's talk about that, right? So first I have the RSS feed, 10 maximum number of items to be returned. Then I have an OpenAI API. So to set up an OpenAI API, you need to go to something called as platform.openai.com, and then go and make a account there, and you will get how to use an API, right? I mean, then you have to go here and click on view API keys. I have a couple of them created. You can just create a new key for, like I have created one for make. You can create a new key. Click on this, it will create a new key. That's it, right? And that's, so you come back here, you set up OpenAI, you click on this, you set it up. You will have to add, click on add, and it will set it up, right? But okay, moving forward. Now we are getting an RSS feed. The next step is, I don't want to read the RSS feeds. That's like 2019 way of doing things, right? We are in 2023. So let's do it in the modern way. And the modern way of doing it is very simple. You once you set it up, it'll give you OpenAI connection. You select a method, it says there are multiple methods, right? Create a prompt completion, create a chat completion, which is through GPT models. I have chosen GPT 3.5 Turbo, and there are other models like GPT-4 and all that. GPT-4 costs 10 times more than GPT 3.5 does, so, but I've chosen this one, which is good enough for our purpose. You can choose the 16K model also, which gives you, if you are kind of trying to summarize long emails or long blog posts, then the 16K works well, but in our case, that's not necessary. Then I have, it comes like this message. I have chosen a role. It says user. So basically, it is as if a user is chatting with the chat GPT and it's going to return the message. So the message I have said is summarize this is description. So it is showing in RSS what all variables are there. RSS field has a lot of variables. So I have title, description. Description is what I want because that is what describes describes that particular article. What is the article all about, right? And it has its own summary, which is not that great, and all these other items. But for our purposes, I just need the description. I click on it and I add. So whenever you add, just put a colon here and add it inside brackets. It's just a way of doing it. Don't ask me why, but it's how I have learned doing it, right? And then you have to click on show advanced settings. Uh, Go down here. Max tokens is defaulted to 16, so don't worry about it. Temperature, make it zero point 0.7 because if it is 0, it is not creative. It is 1, it's extremely creative, right? So you don't want it to start hallucinating and giving you wrong answers. So zero point 0.7 is good. Top P is basically the probability model. Just put it as 0.7. Don't fill it with anything. Echo, keep it empty. Everything else, click OK. Then you have to go to Google Sheets. All of us have Google Sheets. I will show you the sheet here. Just set it up here. This is a Google Sheet. I'm calling it, give it a name, create a sheet, name a sheet, whatever you want to name it, RSS feed 1, RSS feed 2, up to you. And then come back here and the same process again. You have to add a module. And once you add a module, it will ask you to connect your uh, account. I have connected my account here, right? Then it says select by a path. We want to select by path. You have to choose the drive where you have put the sheet itself. You have to find the sheet ID, basically find the sheet. It's just like browsing a folder. Then the sheet name is this, basically sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. I have named it this. Does it contain headers? Yes. So before you start putting everything else, put the headers, that is at the top, right? Every column should have a name. Put a name. So my column names are title, URL, author, and the summary, D. D is an output of the previous module. How does that work? Click on this, it will show you the first module, the second module, which is this one. Now, your summary is actually hidden away. You have to go inside choices, you have to go inside messages and click on content. That is where the answer is, the response actually is. So you will get this automatically if you click on content. Now that's it, pretty much, unformatted, no, I have just clicked it. You click on OK now. Now we are getting the summary, right? The RSS feed is there. We are getting all the various items from there and we are getting a summary. So now we are getting content, a feed of content that is curated because we have entered the right search words in Google Alerts, and then we are summarizing it because we don't want to open and read it. Very simple, right? We are lazy. So what is the next step? Now we want to see if that content is useful for our purpose or not. And what is the purpose? You need to know what purpose you're using it for, otherwise it's going to be a mess. So I again add a module, which is a OpenAI module, a second module. Same thing, I am using chat completion 3.5 turbo. Now here is the difference. I'm giving item 1, which is a role, which is a system role. And I'm saying you're a digital marketing expert focused on using AI in marketing. This is the role, right? Because this is what I want to accomplish. I want to find content which is useful for this particular theme. You can have any other thing. You can say you're a helpful assistant, or you're a funny, humorous comedian. You can have anything you want to. You just want to understand, what the content at the end of the day should be useful for, and just create a system role. This is how ChatGPT will behave for you. Then I create item two. You can click this button, add item. It will create this item two. If you don't want to, just close it here. And I create something called as a user. So I want this prompt to be as if you enter it in ChatGPT. So you're a user entering this prompt. And I'm saying, how can I use this topic? This is basically, what is this, right? How can I use this topic? What is the topic? The topic is the output, not from the Google Sheet, by the way. The topic is the output from our ChatGPT completion, which we had in the second module, right? The same thing. Go here, find the choices message that is inside this, choices message. You can also, if you want, right, you can go to table range, sheet name, row number. You can figure it out where it is, right, where it actually exists, and then pull it out. Yeah, and don't do that. It's easier to find it from the source itself, which is fine. So my prompt says, how can this topic, that's again colon within a bracket, be used to write article for a blog focused on using AI in marketing? Answer, don't use if the topic is not suitable. Answer with an idea of how the topic can be used if it is suitable for the blog. That's it. Again, max token, temperature, top P, echo empty, and I click OK. Now I want to put this prompt, that is it useful or not, back to the sheet we had. So here I go again. I do everything that is required here, right? And I enter which row number it should be, the new row number. So this is the row number, basically the new one, right? It says you have, so this is going to say 72 now, right? Because that's a row number. So okay, here we go. And you get it when you click here. Don't worry about it, right? So does it have titles? Yes, yes, but I'm not adding all the titles here. That's not necessary because I'm only interested in the column E, which is the rating. And again, I go back to my recent ChatGPT completion, and I click on choices, I click on messages, I click on content. That's it, right? And I click OK. Now this entire prompt is ready. This entire chain is ready. A template is ready, let us say. Or you can call it an automation. AI driven automation is ready. It's as simple as that. Plop some icons here, set it up. It's easy. Once you start doing it, it's easy. It may sound very complicated. Now I want to test it. How do I test it? Okay, let's click on run once. Nothing is happening. Why is it so? Because I ran it a couple of times, so there's no new data coming in. So what I can do is I can click on this detective lens button, right, search button. I can click here. I can say click RSS feed from a specific date, and I can just go one date previous, right, previous day, and I can say okay, and I click run once. So it's going to fetch the 10 RSS feeds. You can make it one item per fetch. I've made it 10 items per fetch, and it's going to run. It's going to pass it on to the first one, the second one, the third one. So you can see on top, right? This one fetch here is 10 items. So this should all show 10 items each. Then I know that run is complete, and we can see it happening in real time. In fact. So if I go here, where is it happening? I hope it's not 72. No, it's not. There you go. See, it's happening in real time. It's giving me ideas, right? And it's found everything is useful. If it There you go, it says don't use, right? It's not useful, so it's saying don't use. So there, I think it's done. No, it's not done. So this is the problem, right? I mean, the consistency is not there usually. I mean, it'll give you one line idea sometimes. It'll give you this whole set of bunch of things sometimes. But the good thing is I know if there is something not useful. For example, this one is not useful, right? So In our context, this is not useful. So now I don't have to use this. Why is it not too useful? Let us also look at that, right? Basically, it says Google will now require political ads to disclose any AI content they may contain, according to Consumer Watch. Of course, it's not useful, right? Nobel Prize in Economics, something, something, but this is showing something else, right? Adopts generative AI setting firm ground rules. Human supervision will continue to be crucial in publishing. So that is what this article says, right? So again, just test it a few times, ensure it is actually making sense. Otherwise, see this one. This quick guide explains how to create longer essays and articles using Perplexity AI content generation LLM. However, it does not provide a further detail, so don't use it. Very good. All I have to do now is go here, filter. Oh, why is it not coming? Let me see. Glitches in Google. I feel so. Okay, it doesn't matter right now. We'll figure it out later. But then I know I don't have to read this, and this is give me an idea. So the whole point is I already have an idea to start with. I don't have to go and read this entirely, and if I like it, I can read it. So it's filtering my prompt, my feed already, and I know, okay, that, you know what, this seems interesting. These are not interesting. Just delete them off. I can make it further. I can make it much stricter. I can do two more prompts. I can say use it, don't use it, and then I can say summarize it, right, or generate an idea. So this column can have use, don't use, and then you can summarize it in this column. I mean, up to you how many times you want to run it. I just wanted to save the prompts, the number of prompts I'm using it for. That's why it is so low. Here it is, right? The one run is done. You got 9. It fetched 9. It's supposed to fetch 10, but probably only 9 updates further. That is why it fetched 9, which is fine. The scenario run was completed. Great. So now we save here. This is a save button. Please remember to save it. And we go back and scenario was edited and it's on. The execution is going to be on. Excellent, right? So let's go back to our content. Useful content is here. Now we can further use it. I mean, we can take it a step further and do multiple things with it. So again, you can also do the same thing with Google search results, by the way. It's nothing but a search results, right? I can also enter a keyword, for example. So in Google Alert, I can go and enter a keyword like chat GPT for SEO, right? And that's a keyword, and I have to put it in quotation marks and leave it there. And every time some article, some blog, something is written, some video is published, I get a notification. And now I can take that and see what new stuff has come in and create content on top of that. And believe me, this content comes to you very fast. In fact, before others pick it up and publish something like that, this content, as it is getting published, as Google is picking it up, it comes to you. And many news agencies actually are well connected with the Google engine. So Google knows it's news, so it'll be up on the search engine very fast. So yeah, that's the benefit of running Google Alerts. I am sure yes, you have different uses for it, but just understand what you're searching within Google. Google search engine can also be put as an alert on Google Alerts, and then you can fetch all this data from there and make it useful for you. I mean, which makes sense, which doesn't make sense. Use the prompts. How much money does it cost, by the way? Okay, since I've been testing this since yesterday, I'll just go to usage, and here you go. It cost me zero point zero 0.02 cents yesterday, zero point zero 0.01 cent today, about 3 rupees. That's it. And I'm sure it'll run through the night. It may cost me like 10 rupees or something. So end of the month, it's 300 rupees, hardly anything. It's worth the money you spent here, right? And that's a way to get useful content from Google. So you're piping in the whole river, but taking a slice of it through your search and then further narrowing it down, making it more useful for you, summarizing it, all this without reading the entire article. There you go. So that's how you can generate a bunch of ideas. If you don't like the idea, throw it out or keep it in another sheet. It doesn't matter, right? But you have a bunch of ideas which helps you write good content, or at least get a starting point to write good content. And that's all, folks. We are